So Jacob fights with this other wolf, and Sam orders his minions to take Bella to a safe house. And I hate myself for doing this, but... Inside the house, they meet Emily, Sam's fiancée. And what's really sad is that by simple merit of having a scar, she has more of a personality than Sam. That scar, by the way, was accidentally given to her by Sam when he got angry once, so it serves as a visual reminder for how volatile werewolves can be.
Who's this?
Bella Swan. Who else?
So, you're the vampire girl.
I would ask why Bella's apparently a minor celebrity to people she doesn't know, but that would mean ignoring one big detail. Jacob comes back, so he and Bella take another walk on the beach. Bella is, of course, very understanding of Jacob's new condition.
Well, can't you find a way to just stop?
Truly, this woman is a paragon.
You've killed people, Jake.
Oh yeah, and I forgot about this other plot point. Sprinkled in are reports about people getting killed in the woods by bears.
Another missing hiker brings the total to 3 presumed dead. Rangers are searching for the killer animal.
It was jet black and huge. On all fours, it was still taller than a person. A bear?
Those bears won't get the drop on me, Bella. My kung fu is strong.
Turns out that these bears are the werewolves out patrolling the woods, which Bella uses against Jacob.
We're not killing anyone.
And who is?
What we're trying to protect you people from.
But actually, the werewolves are protectors who hunt vampires, and they also managed to kill Laurent in that fight scene we weren't allowed to see. Now all that's left is Victoria, who's probing the area looking for Bella.
We've got this place covered. She won't get near you or Charlie.
You gotta be careful. She's fast. You don't know how fast she is.
Well, neither do you. You never saw her run or fight in the last movie. Victoria is built up as this tremendous threat, something which carries through this book and into the next one at least. But the character is so mishandled that it's almost offensive. We almost never see Victoria, and what little we do see isn't impressive. She doesn't even have any lines in the movie or the book. The big scary bad guy that this story is trying to build up has no stage presence. And I'm not saying that you can't build up your characters in bits and pieces without showing them. A good example of this for most audiences would be Yoda. We kept hearing about how powerful he was or how incredible he used to be in combat, but if you only stuck to the movies, you never got a chance to see that until episode 3. But when he went all out against Palpatine... Oh yeah, fans loved it. Victoria, though, has none of the stage presence, none of the charisma, and is simply never given a chance to stand out. It's just the Twilight effect. We're told she's a powerful villain, so she must be a powerful villain. No more explanation needed beyond that. It should also be noted that she's a redhead, so I get to call her a daywalker. And for such a big, looming antagonist, we really get to see her in only one scene. That scene being where she's hunting Charlie's hunting party. She knocks down Harry, then gets knocked down by one of the werewolves. So, does no one from the hunting party hear any of this? We didn't see these two go far, and we didn't get any kind of reaction shot from Charlie or anyone. Based on what we saw, it looks like these two were just at the bottom of the hill, well within sight and earshot of Charlie and the rest of the party. This scene does a bad job showing off Victoria's potential, since all she does is give one old guy a heart attack, and then she runs for her life from the werewolves. Not exactly intimidating villain material. This scene also wasn't in the book, thanks in large part to everything being told from Bella's point of view. We instead get several unnecessary scenes of Bella hanging around and waiting for the plot to happen, which was funny because that was exactly what I was doing! As part of the werewolves' plan to trap Victoria, they had Bella stay on their land, because the big scary Victoria was dumb enough to walk onto Werewolf HQ. Not only did I get incredibly bored, but so did Bella, who eventually made her way to the cliff diving spot from earlier.
Bella, please.
She launched herself off in yet another desperate attempt to see Edward, and nearly drowned doing so. She only survived because she got lucky and Jacob saved her. The CG in this scene is incredibly bad. Bella looks like she's just jumping into a ball pit, not launching herself off a cliff. And what kind of direction is Stewart getting? She can't even drown right. No coughing or anything? She may as well have just woken up from a nap on the beach. Jacob starts to take Bella home, nearly getting a kiss out of it too, when he suddenly gets alarmed.
Wait. There's a vampire.
Jacob is about to drive off when Bella stops him.
That's Carlisle's car.
And since this means that Edward might be back, Bella abandons all the progress she's made with Jacob instantly for a chance to get a whiff of that sweet, sweet vampire musk. And that's not hyperbole. Alice is inside the house, and in the book, when Bella sees her, she runs up and... I locked my arms around her, gasping to inhale as much of the scent of her skin as possible.
That's disgusting.
The real dick move of all of this is just how easily Jacob gets kicked to the curb. He and Bella were making real progress in the becoming more than friends kind of way. Now, I'm not saying Bella owed him a relationship by any means, but Bella does look rather selfish and callous towards Jacob here. The guy isn't perfect, but he started out supportive, caring, and tried to look out for her the best that he could. And all of that gets immediately brushed off for even a chance that Bella could just look at her ex again. Move on, lady, it's been 7 months! And I wouldn't even mind it that much if it weren't for the myriad of evidence that Bella was leading him on for the last half of the movie. The book was a little better in this regard, since we could see Bella's thoughts and knew that she wasn't leaning towards a real relationship with Jacob. But a lot of her lines were altered in the movie, which make it look like she's falling for him.
So I was thinking, if we're gonna do this every day, and hopefully we will. If you told me you couldn't fix these bikes, I would say that that's really too bad, but that we're just gonna have to find something else to do.
What are you staring at?
You're sort of beautiful.
I'm sorry about what I said at the movie theater. I just wanted to hear your voice, so no pressure.
Well, maybe we should just get out of here for a while. And just leave. Just you and me.
You'd do that?
I would do it for you. It must be nice never getting cold.
It's a wolf thing.
It's not. It's a Jacob thing. Jake. I love you.
So you're gonna tell me that this is just how Bella talks to her friends normally? Probably not, since her other friends earn months of silence and awkward glances. Bella is just intensely selfish, using Jacob to fill her personal needs to feel better, regardless of how Jacob feels. As soon as something else comes along, namely a chance to see Edward again, Jacob no longer matters. And before anyone even suggests it, no, I am not Team Jacob. I am Team Winchester. I bet the brothers could find a way to kill most of this cast. And probably die in the process, but whatever.
I have never met anyone more prone to life-threatening idiocy.
No argument here. Alice and Jacob bicker back and forth, with Bella ultimately taking Alice's side. It's the road that leads to Edward, after all.
Anything else?
That's it.
Well, if that's all, then you better go run back to Sam.
I get that in Bella's mind, she's defending one friend from another, but the movie just spent the last hour trying to build up Jacob as a character and his budding romantic relationship with Bella. Now, all of that work is being undone just so Bella can go after that vampire dick again. The relationship is doomed, and the only thing that becomes of the last hour is that Jacob gets really bitter and jealous. In a better told story, this could have been done in just a couple of scenes. Jacob is the victim of Bella's fickle whims, but never mind that. We might get the original couple back! The same couple with as much chemistry as oil and water. So the movie just nullified half its entire runtime. Most of this movie is filler. Do you twihards see why the series is bad yet? But that's not to say that Jacob is entirely blameless. Throughout this movie, we see him teetering on some deep rage, no doubt as part of his werewolf nature. However, much like Christian Grey, Jacob seems keen on keeping Bella to himself and controlling what she's allowed to do.
Please, Bella. Just stay here for Charlie. Or for me.
Which is a shame because he started off as such a nice and supportive friend. He had a chance to form a real and meaningful relationship with Bella, and in some ways, it felt like there was some real chemistry between them. Instead, he devolves into this needy, demanding asshat with anger problems who gets bent out of shape if Bella doesn't do what he wants.
But if I choose it, it has nothing to do with you.
No, I won't let you.
My guess is that Meyer didn't actually want people siding with Team Jacob, since that wasn't the couple that she was personally shipping. And that's without talking about the other shit he does later in the series, like falling in love with a baby. What the actual fuck, Meyer? After another tepid argument about nothing, Bella and Jacob nearly kiss again, only to get interrupted by a phone call.
He's not here right now. He's arranging a funeral.
But oh no, it was Edward on the other line, and now he thinks Bella is dead. So Edward's big plan now is to use that small nugget of exposition from the beginning of the movie. He's gonna go to the vampire mafia and request that they kill him.
Do it! Do it, do it, do it!
But Bella and Alice race to stop him by traveling to Italy, where Edward has apparently already landed and talked with Volturi about his emotastic suicide plan. Wait, how did he get to Italy before Alice and Bella when he had to travel an extra 3,500 miles from Rio de Janeiro?
Jesus wants a hug!
But it doesn't end there. In regards to story structure, this movie has the same problem of the first. That is, the first 3/4 are uninteresting character dribble, and the last quarter is where all the plot and conflict get truncated into. I spent the first large chunk of the movie bored out of my mind because nothing was happening. Now that something is happening, it's all happening too quickly and doesn't have time for me to appreciate the danger of the moment. But fuck it! I'm just glad we're no longer watching two whiny teenagers mope around in the woods.
Tell me, do you dream of being a vampire?
This is how we're represented. Unbelievable.
Alice and Bella race through the Italian countryside until they make it to a hillside city, one that I'm 90% sure was also used when filming Inkheart. And apparently there's a little festival going about town.
Why are they all in red?
St. Marco's Day Festival. They're commemorating the expulsion of vampires from the city.
So St. Marco's Day is a real thing, and this is almost right, but still kind of dumb. On April 25th, Italians celebrate St. Mark's Day. However, they also celebrate Liberation Day, which marks the expulsion of the Nazis from Italy at the end of World War II. While there is a comparable celebration, the similarities are too close. The replacement of Nazis with vampires here just conflates vampires with Nazism, which is clearly not what Meyer was going for. These are actually two separate holidays, but Meyer combined them into one. What Meyer should have done is created her own holiday for this idea. Hell, if she wanted to take it easy and maybe try for an ironic twist, she could have named it St. Auro's Day after the head of the vampire mafia. However, the festival has clogged the streets and their car has to stop.
Alice! Bella, you're the only one he can't see coming. If I go, he'll read my thoughts, he'll think I'm lying, he'll rush into it.
Wait, how does that work? Can Edward not tell when someone's lying? Does he only read the words in their heads without any tone or emotion? This shows how poorly thought out his powers were. Apparently, Edward just reads other people like their thoughts were text messages. This also comes across as a weak attempt to excuse a plot hole, and it makes Edward look like an incomplete psychic. And wouldn't he be elated to hear that Bella was alive? Or is Edward just looking for an excuse to kill himself?
I must be emo.
And all of this just to portray a weakly veiled imitation of Romeo and Juliet. Forcing the comparison just weakens New Moon's story when you have to jam that plot line in here, especially when nothing else from the original play carries through. Was the suicide really the only thing Meyer took from Romeo and Juliet? Bella races to the top of the town, where Edward plans to take off his shirt in front of people and blind everyone with how pale he is. Why didn't you hit the tanning booth? Blinding stupidity aside, Bella charges across the fountain to stop Edward from showing too much of himself. Time slows down in this scene, which I think was what the book was trying for, but failed to properly display. Bella had a dramatic dash to save Edward in the book, but instead of detailing relevant minutiae like her quickening pulse or the water in the fountain slowing her down, Bella focused on everything else around her. It did make things seem like they slowed down because it took that much longer to read. Bella's head must have been on a swivel because she noticed every petty detail that she could, including some kid with white hair, several businessmen with red blazers, every gong of the nearby bell tower, and so much detail in one particular family that you'd think it was actually part of a subplot. And keep in mind, none of that was relevant or added to the scene, the plot, or any characters. It's like Meyer was trying to get paid by the word. Also, no offense to Rob Patterson, but since we spent so much of this movie focusing on shirtless men with six-packs, you'd think he'd have hit a gym or something. He looks comically scrawny in comparison. Or was Meyer trying to appeal to pale, skinny, basement-dwelling nerds who never leave the house? What are you looking at? So Bella has rescued Edward, the couple has reunited, and the central conflict of the book, rather the only conflict, has concluded. One might start to think that the movie is almost over, until you look at the progress bar and good God, how are there still 30 minutes left in this movie? Oh my god, the story structure of this thing is an atrocity!
I won't be needing your services after all, gentlemen.
Aro wants to speak with you again.
Bella and Edward are taken deeper into the vampire mafia's home, and we get to see Aro, Caro, and Methuselah. Or whatever their names are, I honestly don't care. Alice slips in, as does Dakota Fanning, playing some woman named Jane. Such a shame, too. I used to think she had such a bright career ahead of her. To save us all from looking at Edward's peach fuzz chest hair, one of the mafia minions gives him a robe to wear. So now he looks like a coke fiend with a hangover. And everyone is led to the 3 vampire mafia dons. Aro is played by Michael Sheen, who once played Mozart in the Broadway production of Amadeus, but has since been reduced to this. Christopher Heyerdahl plays MacReady, and is famous for a whole bunch of TV shows that I've never watched. Then we get Cairo, Caius, something. Yes, he is the same kid who played Jace from the Mortal Instruments. His job in this movie is to sit there and pout like a somehow more petulant version of Joffrey Baratheon, upset because now he's going to be late for his cartoons. So 3 of the most powerful and intimidating vampires in the world are an old guy too sad to move, a brat who looks like he wants his father to die already so he can inherit the family fortune, and a clown who can't find his lithium. Though in Michael Sheen's defense, he did ham it up on purpose. So Bella gets introduced to the vampire mafia, mostly focusing on the crazy one.
Aro can read every thought I've ever had with one touch.
Wait, if Aro can read thoughts, then why didn't he stop or kill Edward earlier when he thought Edward was going to reveal himself to humans? Isn't that his job?
Such a waste.
Doesn't waiting for it to happen unnecessarily risk vampire exposure? Or if killing him was out of the question, why not imprison him? There has to be some way to seal vampires away. Remember how in the first Twilight review I said that the vampires of this world have no real threats outside of other vampires? Well, Meyer decided to carry through with that by letting Edward get beaten up while defending Bella. Even Dakota Fanning gets this oddly specific power.
Pain.
Stop!
So she's able to cause an incredible amount of pain with minimal effort. Sounds like a good metaphor for this book. And yet, for some reason, Aro's powers don't work on Bella.
Interesting. I see nothing.
In fact, none of the vampires can apparently affect Bella with their powers.
Remarkable. She confounds us all.
Since this is such a potential liability, the Mafia makes the logical decision to kill Bella.
So, what do we do with you now?
You already know what you're going to do, Aro.
She knows too much. She's a liability.
Do it! And while we do get a nice scene of Edward getting his ass thoroughly handed to him, this doesn't end the way we all hoped it would.
Kill me! Kill me! Not him!
Do it! Do it! Do it! Do it! Just do it! Just do it!
But in a remarkable turn of events, Aro takes pity on Bella's outburst.
How extraordinary. You would give up your life for someone like us, a vampire.
Well, that's just lazy writing.
Combine that with Alice having a conveniently timed vision of the future, and Aro sees that Bella is destined to change into a vampire. Here's my question though, since Aro's powers are so poorly defined. Can Alice just imagine anything and then convince Aro that it's true? What if she imagines some big hellscape erupting around them too? Could she lie and just fantasize something that won't happen just to trick Aro? Well, that would explain the final fight of the series, but that's an entirely separate mess. So Aro, Caro, and Meshuggah all bid farewell to the happy couple and Alice, while a bunch of sheep are led in for the slaughter.
This way, please. Stay together.
That tour really does have everything. The next scene is just Edward admitting that he was wrong to leave, and Bella making him promise not to pull that shit again. Charlie also pops in more than a minute after Bella's last terrible scream.
You okay?
Fine.
I guess he's just gotten used to it. I'll go on record saying that Charlie is probably my favorite character from the series, since he's just an average dad trying his best with a distant daughter. He's unironically the most human character in the series, and because of all this crap, he kinda hates Edward. But New Moon screwed him up. See, while he was around in the book, the movie sidelined him big time. In the span of the first half of the book, he goes from an awkward yet affectionate dad to guy. He's some guy who lives in Bella's house. He does his best at first, trying to comfort Bella, even offering to let her go live with her mother if it'll make her happier. Bella came before him. That doesn't just make him a good dad, it makes him a good person. Especially considering this is a quality that doesn't really show up much in the series.
What about your dad?
I'm 18. I'm legally free to go, and I left a note.
And I didn't even know she had a passport. This is a little better in the movie, since Charlie is brought in for more relevant scenes, like comforting Bella or hunting the werewolves, but in the book we got to see him do everything. And when I say everything, I mean all the mundane things. He watched a football game, he went fishing and hung out with his buddy Harry. He watched a different football game and somehow shared a pizza with Edward. Can vampires eat pizza? This kind of changes in the book's final scene when Charlie sees Bella hanging out in the woods with Edward and Jacob and screams to remind her that she's still grounded. I guess she's not free to leave whenever she wants, huh? Still, poor Charlie has been relegated to the role of old guy who just doesn't understand Bella. So Edward and Bella get back together, then Bella invites the rest of the Cullen clan to vote on whether or not to make her a vampire.
It would be nice to not want to kill you all the time.
My thoughts exactly. With the exception of Rosalie and Edward, the whole clan votes to mutate Bella. But we can't end on a non-cliffhanger, so Edward and Bella drive until they nearly crash into Jacob, just standing in the road. Although I can't decide what's funnier, if Jacob had stopped other cars hoping they'd be Edward, or if Edward chose not to stop. Probably the second one. Jacob is still bitter about Bella choosing Edward over him, so he wants to put one massive wrench into the discussion to kill Bella.
I'm here to remind you about a key point in the treaty.
I haven't forgotten.
What key point?
If any of them bites a human, the truce is over.
Why do you guys have packs? You're monsters.
Okay, while I can totally buy there being a pact between the Cullens and the werewolves, I do have questions. For starters, short of protecting humans, what's the point of the pact? Why can't the Cullens convert someone of their own free will?
But if I choose it, it has nothing to do with you.
No, I won't let you.
Jacob is obviously talking through wounded pride, but is this otherwise a territory thing? How significant is the treaty to the Cullens? Does it still invalidate the treaty if the Cullens and Bella move away, then transform her? Does it really matter at that point? Don't they have to move soon anyway since they don't age and people are gonna get suspicious? It's like Myers started thinking about some ideas for these books, but never dug below the surface for them. And frankly, she never did much on the surface level either. So the talk doesn't go well as Jacob gives into his anger and transforms. So we have this super serious moment that was supposed to pull at our heartstrings, but I'm too busy pointing out that this movie technically has a naked 16-year-old boy in it. Oh goody! Jacob runs off, then the movie drags itself out for another few minutes in what could have been a stirring moment if these characters had any depth or likability to them.
Marry me.
And there's your cliffhanger for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Grab your own torches and pitchforks. Holy crap, that was amazingly bad. Almost nothing worked. The only good thing I can say was that the music was nice and was often used effectively, but everything else was abysmal. There are no real characters. The main characters have less emotional ranges than most mimes, and there's more filler and meaningless jabbering than a college essay with a minimum word count. What really surprised me was how this movie couldn't even nail down basic story development. That's like storytelling 101! The plot in this movie has the narrative structure of a 5-year-old talking about his favorite TV show while on a sugar rush. You may have seen story structure presented as a mountain, with a rising action, a climax, resolution, etc. New Moon is not a mountain like this, it's a parking lot with a speed bump kind of near the middle. For example, Edward's suicide threat is brought up and resolved in the span of 10 minutes. What kind of writing is that? At least when Ethan Hawke has to stop a bomb at the end of a movie, we've had a bad guy introduced and the plot builds up to the bomb. This movie could make for decent torture material. It gets a fuck you out of 5. If I'm being perfectly fair, the movie does earn some points as an adaptation. The characters are pretty much the same, and what little plot there is has been condensed. Many elements were wisely cut, like Bella going on long-winded tangents or Alice sticking around for 2 days before she and Bella split for Italy. So much fat is trimmed that most of the book is lost, and that's a good thing. The endless expository ramblings got old real quick, reduced mostly to Bella's pointless emails in the movie, and I do appreciate the movie bringing only the relevant ideas to screen. It would just help if they didn't obviously drag out the runtime. Seriously, can someone please explain the minute-long title cards to me? Why were those there? As an adaptation, Twilight New Moon gets a 2 out of 5. I mean no exaggeration when I say this is the worst book I've ever read. Nothing works at all. It's not enough to rail against the bland characters or hackneyed story, but the basic story structure isn't even built right. Think about that. I've never been able to say that about a previous book or movie. Inkheart, The Mortal Instruments, and even 50 Shades of Grey, as bad as they were, at least followed proper story structure. Instead, we get the climax in this book, and then it keeps going for another 100 pages. That kind of writing is so bad that I would almost think it was intentional. And do you like it when books are edited? Well, Stephanie Meyer doesn't. This book genuinely feels like a first draft. Like Meyer breezed through writing it, told the publisher that it was done, and they didn't even bother to look it over once. The best I can say is that everything is spelled correctly. Outside of the myriad of other complaints I had, there are basic inconsistencies, like how Bella contradicts herself on what day it is. There is a scene where 2 days pass when Alice comes to visit, then forgets about it and talks about showing up the day before. Seriously, pages 395, 401, and 403. Check them out if you don't believe me. And what kind of story is this trying to be? A character-driven one? Not likely, since there are too many external elements moving the would-be characters around. A plot-driven one? The plot grinds to a screeching halt for half the book, so that can't be it. Like the first book, the pacing has an issue in that nothing fucking happens! It wouldn't have been so bad if literally anything could have kept my attention, but all I got was mind-numbing tedium. Perhaps the biggest sin the book and movie make are that I can see all the ways they could have been great. Just change a few details, make things happen, give the side characters reasons to be in the story, give Bella any characterization outside of a screaming dependent girlfriend, and this series could have actually been good. And by extension, 50 Shades of Grey could have just stayed as unremarkable fanfiction. To reiterate, this is the worst book I've ever read. It's so bad that we can't give it a fuck you out of 5. Twilight New Moon deserves nothing better than total cancer out of 5.